If I hear AI one more time, I can't handle it anymore.
Tell me how you really feel about that. Like, what's going on over there?
I mean, there's one thing with buzzwords, but these two buzz letters, AI, is driving me bonkers.
I feel like we got to talk about this.
I
Like,
really do feel like we do too. I mean, can we spend like a month on this?
let's go, baby. All of January, nothing but AI.
Okay, let's do it. Challenge accepted.
Done.
Welcome to the VIP podcast.
Season 3.
Let's go. Welcome back to the Vertafore Insurance Podcast. I'm here hanging out with my main man, Mike Fusco from Fusco and Orsini in beautiful San Diego, California. What's going on, Mike Fusco? How are you, brother?
Heath, what's up, bro? It's always good to be with the mayor. You know what I mean?
Right? It's always good to be with you, too. So, beautiful San Diego. Is it beautiful right now? Are you good?
Dude, it's gorgeous, bro.
Always.
How could you beat 72 and sunny?
All the time? Yeah, you can't. You really can't. All right, but you're not always been from San Diego. I know you're from the Northeast and whatnot, but tell me a little bit about your origin story. Tell me about how you ended up, in the agency and the insurance world. Talk to me about Fusco and Orsini a little bit. Give me a little bit of something here. Ramble on for me for a little bit.
So yeah, man. I'm from the Northeast. I grew up in Jersey. My parents are both native New Yorkers, raised in New York City. So I spent a lot of time there. Yeah, man. Went to college at the University of Maryland. Go Terps.
Oop.
4-0, dude. 4-0.
I love that. Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
4-0, dude. Yeah, moved out here in 2001, man. So I've been here 22 years. It's definitely home now, I love San Diego, man. I love Southern California.
So talk to me about how you came about with Fusco and Orsini. Where'd that come from?
So this came from, I was working at another agency, a large independent agency, and, met Valerie. Valerie's Orsini. You know Dan Morton. We all worked together and just, decided to go out and do our own thing, man, in 2010. So we're coming up. Actually, we just passed 13 years, which is insane. Can't believe how quick it goes. But we just passed 13 years, going into year number 14, and just, continuing to kind of do our thing here, man. Trying to get better,
So when you talk about your thing, what is your thing? What sets Fusco and Orsini apart from other agencies in California, in your state, in your area, down the street from you? What sets you apart? What's your thing?
That's a great question. So we've really worked hard on the brand, and we're really trying hard. And I think we're succeeding in getting away from just being known as an insurance agency. First of all, we don't do much in personal lines. We do mostly all business insurance. As I'm sure similar to personal lines, small business has started to become a commodity in the insurance world. I'm sure we'll talk about that more, but very transactional, very volume based, and we really don't want to be that. Deliver those services internally, but we also bring in partners. Just like from the insurance side, right? You're a middleman. Mm-hmm. We middleman those products too. So we bring risk consultants, loss prevention people, safety training. This is in the risk management side of things. But we deliver those services, those products at scale for the customer, just like you would an insurance policy or an insurance program, right? So just looking at that from the big picture is like we're kind of the same type of thing, just different services and products, not all insurance related. You know.
Okay. So you're trying to be, a lot more than just the insurance agency. You want them to think about you for other things as well. Of like, if they have accounting questions, or accounting needs, or if they've got risk management needs, or if they've got these needs or those needs, that you want them to come to Fusco and Orsini for those types of things as well.
Yep.
So, I love that because I used to do the same thing, as a producer. One of my favorite things was, I would love for people to come to me, even for like, I need a good tow truck guy, or I need someone to help me fix my car. I need a good mechanic. Where's a good grocery store? I wanted them to come to me for everything so that, when it came to insurance needs, they knew where to come to, or they could send people my way, and then I could get the insurance conversation going from there. And so
Right.
It sounds like that's a lot of what you're doing there. And so your team, as again, I've met your team, but the people on this podcast have not. And so tell me a little bit about your team. I know you've got different segments and you've got different teams and whatnot. Tell me a little bit about that, what that looks like right now.
So we have, and you know them well, but we kind of break up into smaller teams within the agency.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is create, as we've grown, we've tried to keep it small for the client,
Uh-huh.
because we want the client to get that personal touch that we always had, that you get the benefit of that when you're a smaller agency. As you start to get larger, how do you keep that, right?
Yeah.
That's what got us to where we are, really, is our clients. So we want to make sure we keep the personal touch. We have, a producer that works with an account exec or an account manager and a CSR. And we break down into smaller teams. So everybody has their responsible book of business. We centralize operations. We centralize accounting. And of course we have someone answering the phones. But everything else is done at the team level, servicing their particular book of business.
Yeah. And it seems like, it's almost like, for me to say it, if I'm wrong in this, the way it feels like to me is like 6 or 7 different agencies within one.
That's really what it is, man.
And
At the end of the day, but then we kind of centralize, like I said, ops. The accounting is all done from one place.
yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like little mini agencies within one agency.
Yeah, that's super attractive for someone to come into that, I would imagine, and it'd probably be easier to recruit from that standpoint.
Yeah, I think so, man. And I think we've created the structure for people to come into it where, we have all the processes, workflows, automations, proposals, templates, marketing, branding, all that stuff is already structured. But it kind of helps the people in each individual group or team do their job, more effectively, more efficiently, more productively.
Sure.
Just,
Okay.
Again, to scale easier, right? So that you're not doing all the monotony stuff.
Well,
So-
I know that's a big thing for you, and you've brought it up here, and I know this from you as productivity and efficiency is a big thing of yours. And one of the things, I'm going to be real honest, and I'm going to use this podcast for the whole world listening. Forgive me now. I don't know the first doggone thing about robot process automation. That's one of the things I've heard you talk about, and I've heard you, bring up in ways to help your agency be efficient. And immediately there's people listening right now like, oh crap, robots, that's scary, or I don't know what to do with that or whatever. But listen up, because what I've heard Mike talk about, he brings it in a way that makes sense and it's understandable. But first of all, what is RPA? And let's at least start off there at high level and break that down a little bit, what RPA is.
So, man, it's pretty simple. All it is
What's it stand for first?
it stands for robotic process automation.
Okay. And so
I
break
call
it down
it-
simply.
I call it repetitive process automation. I think
Okay.
that explains it better, because all it does is those bots, they're developed to perform the same exact tasks in the same exact way, sequence, process each and every time. So if you were to have a computer up in your office and there was an RPA or there was a bot programmed on that computer to work let's say in AMS 360.
Okay.
You would actually see it go log into the system, go here's step one, type this out, step two, step three, step four, step five, and finish the process and then go back to step one. So that's all it is, man. All it is a bot. It's a system, a product that is developed to perform the same tasks over and over and over again.
So you can literally sit at your computer. Again, I'm a dummy when it comes to this, so I'm going to speak for, some of those that may not know. But so you could see like the mouse moving around on your screen and see them doing these things.
Yeah.
And so how do you go about setting that up? I mean, is there a system that does it, or you program that yourself, or what is that like? Is that something that anybody can do? What does that look like?
Yeah, people. I mean, you can learn to do it. It's all it is developing, coding. But I have developers that do it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do know people that have taught it themselves how to do it. Who has the time for that? I mean, it's it's a whole nother job. I mean, to build these things, but yeah, man. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, it's nothing too complicated. I mean, I know, like you said, when you start to use the term robotics and robots, people think, "Whoa, dude, this is crazy!" Like, but it's really not complex. All it is that you're teaching it to perform the same processes over and over again.
Okay, give me an example, a good, easy example that someone could wrap their head around that every commercial insurance agency does, that you could provide advice for or step by step on how to set that up for something like that.
Okay, so I would hope every commercial agency onboards their clients.
Okay, hit me.
Welcomes them to the agency, right? So what does that look like? Well, we assign that all to our bots. So, our sales team finishes their process. They upload documents to our AMS. They assign a task to the bot. The bot then takes that process, creates a VOC, assigns CSR or assigns client portal credentials, creates a username and password, opens up, basically goes in, signs it, closes that out, opens up an Outlook email, just like you or I would, types out the person's name, attaches the VOC, attaches our client perks, delivers the email, writes in the username and password for the portal, signs off as the CSR, and sends out the onboarding email.
My mind's blown right now hearing this, and I feel like I work for a tech company, and this is like blowing my mind right now. But you could have this program to do this every single time someone comes into your agency, and your staff is not spending any time doing that. How much time does you think that saves per client?
So that particular bot, I think it saves us about 2,000 hours a year, that's a whole person.
That's incredible. Just by automating that one process, and so these bots that you've set up with your, the people that come in to create those and do all of that, they can get inside and out, of your AMS, your CRM, and all these different tools that you've got seamlessly.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They're a user in our CRM. They're a user in our AMS. They have their own email account.
Wow, and. Okay, so I'm going to be real honest. When I think about bots, and I think a lot of people do too, I don't know if you saw this or not on Twitter. I think you did, maybe. You may have sent it to me. The robots that were walking around the Ravens game a couple months ago or weeks ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was at the Chargers game, right?
Chargers game. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe you sent me the video, but I was seeing these like robots walking around, looking around. You could see them. Obviously, you could tell they're robots, but that's what I think of, and I start thinking, this is weird. But what you're talking about is nothing like that. So it's just
these are bots that are programmed to reside on a machine, right? Whether it's locally in a workstation or even hosted in a cloud, where they are deployed onto a workstation. And their whole, they're not, all they do is work within systems.
Okay, so we've talked about an onboarding bot. What about like for a commercial agent that's got certificates?
So there are use cases where they can issue certificates. It's no problem.
Okay.
We don't do it because we haven't quite got to a point where we're comfortable with that because of the level of certificates that we issue. We do a lot of construction stuff,
Well, a
you
lot of them
know.
are done differently. Some people want specific names on there and specific address and all this, that kind of stuff. So I get that. Okay. What's another use case you can give me then? Let's put this down on the bottom shelf for my listeners here. What's something else you can use it for?
So think about, moving data between different systems. You
Okay.
know, that's you know, that's a struggle that I think a lot of agencies have because it creates more time. Double keystrokes. You have people wasting their time putting things the exact same way
Yeah.
in two different places, right? Well, how about if you create a bot to pick it up in one place and add it to another?
Right. So,
That's easy, easy.
yeah.
It's the low hanging fruit, as I call it, right?
Sure. So
Um,
I know you don't do personalized. So like a bot could take it from your AMS through using Vertafore programs from AMS 360, go through PO rating, and then put it in your CRM afterwards. And the bot could do all of that, is what you're telling me.
oh, easily,
Wow.
easily.
Uh,
Data verification or data consistency, right? Think of it that way. So where it's the same thing, it's clean, it's neat, it's consistent in all your different systems. It can do that. It can do. It can up like we have it. It's hasn't launched quite yet. It's about a couple days away, but we'll have a bot that will take our non-pay cancellations and upload them into a campaign where our clients are being texted and emailed about their cancellation notices. So now again, 7 to 8 minutes each time. I don't have to have a CSR doing it, right? We can have our CSRs doing more high level stuff. So just when you think about what types of things are you doing every day in your agency that are creating inefficiencies, wasting time, because we all know we feel like we're wasting time using our staff and our team, or things that are just monotonous where your staff might not like doing it, where you can take that off their plate so they have more fulfillment in their job, in their role. Think about that. I mean, those are the types of things that we're looking at, and we have 4 bots. We're going to be building more, but we look at those things where we can say, okay, where can we help our people be better achievers and not have to do the same monotonous, inefficient, time wasting tasks day in and day out.
so
That's
yeah.
yeah.
So people that are listening right now, again, a lot of people are hesitant or scared. They say the comment, they're trying to replace humans with the RPA. I see you shaking your head already. Hit me. What's your first response when I say that?
It's a great question, dude. And it's listen, your humans are going to be replaced if you don't start to implement this type of technology.
Okay.
And they're going to be replaced because you're not going to have the means to hire people anymore. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like doomsday, but
No.
if you have your head in the sand now as an agency owner, you better get it out because everywhere we look, we're getting cut. Okay. Whether it's insurance companies trying to go direct to consumer, whether it's insurance companies deploying this type of technology, because don't think they don't have it, whether it's your commissions getting cut
Yep.
because insurance companies are less profitable in a hard market, whether it's simply just saying we don't want to work these distribution channels anymore. We were going through other distribution channels. I don't care what what it is that we're losing, but we're losing.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you think that in today's environment where the cost to do business is far higher than it's ever been, the cost of labor is far higher than it's ever been, the cost to maintain your customers are far greater than they've ever been, the expectations of your clients are far greater than they've ever been. Okay. And what you're competing against is far more advanced than it ever has been. If you don't think that that's going to affect your agency and your bottom line in the immediate term and also in the long term going forward, even worse, then quite frankly, you have your head up your ass. And I'm not trying to sound like an a-hole, but I'm telling you,
No,
you
I
have your
get
head
it.
up your ass. And if you don't find ways to become more profitable, okay, by shrinking your costs of doing business, then you're not going to be able to hire those people that you think you might be replacing anyway,
Right.
because you're not going to have the profits to do it. And that's just the pure truth, man. And I just, I'm a realist, and I understand, what goes on in the business world, and insurance companies don't give a shit about agencies. Okay. I'll tell you that right now. All right. And if you think they do, then look at what they're doing right now to all your clients and all the non-renewals you're getting across your desk every day. So what's more important to you as an agency owner? Keeping your client on the books and being happy and making sure that your team has the time to focus their attention on that client and making sure you place them in another piece of policy, or uploading non-pay cancellations, moving data between systems, and sending out onboarding emails every day? What's more important to you? If you can answer that question, which is the way I know you're going to answer it, then you need to start looking at technology to offload some of the bullshit from your team, and to allow your team to do more high-level, high productive, revenue generating work, or you are going to lose. Is that pretty simple?
Dude, I love this. And I may get in trouble for this podcast, but I love what you just talked about, because again, you're keeping it real the way you believe. Like, this is your truth. This is what you believe. This is what you've seen. You're a very successful agency go through, and you've adopted this technology. You've done these things. You're the use case. You've done it right then and there and replaced, some of those remedial tasks and some of those things. I mean, we had a hard time accepting VAs in our business several years ago, and now it's a normal thing. RPA is just a next iteration of that, which I think will replace the VAs eventually. But that's just me.
Or again, man, just as I was speaking about with people that work in your agency. I mean, your VAs are part of your culture. They're part of your team.
100%. Yeah.
Why not help them become better at what they're doing and become better insurance people than just having them doing monotonous,
Yeah, 100%.
Remedial work, right? Where you can still offload that.
Okay, so tell the audience right now listening, how did your team respond, and how do they respond now when you brought in?
They love it, dude. I mean, listen, I mean, I'm big on culture, Heath. You've been in this office.
Oh, 100 times, yeah.
I explained to them exactly as I explained it to you. This is why we're doing this.
And not to replace you, but to enhance you.
Correct. And to protect you.
Yeah.
Because we don't lower our costs of doing business. Our bottom line is going to deplete. And I improved our bottom line. 2022 was the worst year we ever had in net profits. And the reason why it was the worst year we ever had in net profit is not because our top line revenue isn't strong. Or in fact, our top line revenue grew 12 to 15% last year. That's not the issue. And I'm telling you, all these agency owners too right now, you're not going to have an issue with your top line because we're getting built-in raises today.
Right, 100%. For another year or two, probably.
But your bottom line is going to suck if you don't start paying attention to it. And it's directly related to the cost of doing business in your labor, your benefits, your tax dollars, your software expenses, your rent. I don't care, whatever it is. Your fixed overhead is going through the roof. Our 2022, our net profit sucked because we had to recruit a lot more talent and we had to pay everybody a lot more money to ensure that we weren't having turnover. Mm-hmm. You know this. You know exactly. I mean, when the big shops come around and start offering people 100%. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, in the summer of last year, I said, I need to do my next year in this business is going to be focused on the bottom line. That's all I'm looking at. And I need to do whatever I need to do to fix it. And we have fixed it. Now we're trending above 20% again to the bottom line, which is where I like our net profits to be. You got to find ways to save money. I'm looking at 6,500 hours a year in savings because of my bots. What's that? That's 3.5 people.
Incredible.
You average 70,000 a person. I mean, I'm saving $200,000 a year just because I took labor costs and offset them in technology costs.
That's crazy. Yeah, good for you.
Dude, I mean, I'm just telling people straight up. And I told my team the same thing. I said, look, my job, my role in this agency is to ensure that you guys have a future, that you're secure, that I can help you learn, that I can help you grow, that I can help you support your family. That's my role. as a leader in the agency. In order for me to do that, we need to start implementing and building out more technology in areas that it may seem like it's taking your job, but it's not.
Right.
Because when the bot takes all these cancellation notices off your desk, I want to use those hours to teach you and train you and put you through CIC courses and help you go through Liberty Mutual School and help you talk to clients and help you understand more about what you're doing and grow in the industry.
Yeah, and I remember being in, and again, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit, but I was in the agency and we would look at the task and you would see all the different tasks you're talking about right now. And now I know why you did the RPAs, because I've seen those tasks that your team had going on. And it was like, you know what? You did exactly what you just told us. I'm not focused on bottom line. I'm going to replace some of those tasks that get that off of their plates, because they were stressed out every day, because of these tasks. You took those off their plate for them, and now they probably love you even more. And they already would have ran through a brick wall for you beforehand, but now your team loves it.
Oh, and I can tell you right now, I mean, we don't hear, people are not overworked like they were. I mean, we took audits off their plates. We took cancellations off their plates, onboarding off their plates, moving data between CRMs and AMSs off their plates.
And so
my question is, what's the next thing what's the next pain point? And I'll ask them, hey, what's your biggest pain point now?
Love it.
Okay, let's build a bot to take that off your plate.
And so one of the other things that I want you to tell the audience is you don't just do commercial P&C. You also have a whole other department as well, correct?
Employee benefits.
For employee benefits, and a good large size benefits department. Do you use the RPAs for that as well?
We have not yet.
Okay.
However, we are going to develop a bot that moves information into ease.
Okay.
In and out of ease. Yeah.
So I'm sure they're jealous right now of the P&C department because they've got the bots and they don't.
Dude, that side of the business is so much different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
As you know, I mean, I know that you came, with your family and stuff. You came from that side of the business, so you understand. Like, it's a lot more like hands-on type stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of double entry in that industry because you have to use the Ben admin platforms, right?
Yep.
But then you also have your agency AMS and you also have your
CRM and everything.
CRM. So it's like, how many different places are we putting the same things, right?
Yep.
Can we deploy a bot that does that for us? Sure, we can. We can 100% do that. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, back to the bots, they've taken off those tasks. And I think for people listening, now, and I'd love for you to talk about, your team is now able to focus on building a relationship with their clients, right?
Man, and that's critical element number one when it comes to building and growing a successful agency. It is the relationship with the client. Critical element number one. All this other stuff we talk about, all these hot takes and buttons and Twitters and this and that, that we talk about, all this fun shit. It's all important, but number one is the relationship with the client, because that's what's going to make or break whether that client stays with you or not and remains on the books for the number of years that you need to have a client on the books to become profitable on their account. And it's not 1 year for those of you that are listening, and it's not even 2 years. You better do what you can to keep that client 4 or 5 years to ensure that account is a profitable account. Because if they leave you after 2, you just spent money to have them on the books for 2 years.
Yep. Spoken, perfectly on that. So one of the things before we wrap up, I did want to get into one of the statements that you made, and it kind of threw me for a loop at first, and now I get it, especially talking to you as much as we do, but even right now, you said, and I quote, "I love the hard market." And at first it's like, what? Because you hear the whole world talk about, oh, hard market sucks and da-da-da, but you were like, I love the hard market. Why did you say that?
It makes you more valuable to your client. And I think that's where we have a lot of problems in this business is that the clients don't value us. And it's because of the fact that the industry as a whole has consistently spoken and brainwashed people to think that we're a commodity and that all that matters is price. So in a hard market, price goes out the window, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So where else can you deliver? Okay.
Yeah.
And in a hard market, our value becomes exemplified as independent agencies because now people really are relying on us for product placement, for coverage, for market intelligence, whatever you may call it. And I think the commodity of price becomes not as important anymore. So that's why I love the hard market. I also love E&S. I mean, I grew up in E&S. That's where I learned this business. The first 5 years as an independent agent, all I wrote was E&S business. And I actually think the way that E&S operates as a sub-segment of this industry is the way that really all carriers should be able to operate. The problem is that we're over-regulated to the nines. And carriers can't really operate the way a surplus lines carrier does, which is underwriting based on the risk at hand, right? But that's why I love the hard market, man. Now, does it drive me nuts and give me more gray hair? Oh, heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Do insurance companies, make me lose sleep?
Yes.
100%. But this is where we can shine, and that's what I tell my friends in the business that, I'm stressing because it's like, well, you might have to get a little uncomfortable now. If you're very used to transactional product placement all day long, you might want to start thinking about ways you can differentiate yourself and understand different segments of the industry and how you can help clients, remain protected.
Yeah,
but that's why.
Yeah, if you've positioned yourself for the last 10 years on price alone, then you're in a lot of trouble right now.
Big trouble.
But there's still hope. There's still time for you. There's still things that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Start learning.
Yeah.
How to become more to your customer than just, writing policies based on the premiums.
And man, I could sit here. You got me fired up. Like I want to, run through the brick wall right now and go sell some insurance. You got me fired up. I appreciate it. And, just bring in some hot takes and bring in some normal Mike Fusco fire. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And would you play hockey this morning or you got a game tonight? You're all fired up today.
We do have a game. I'm fired up because, I talk to a lot of people in our business that want to implement and want to improve, but I have a feeling they don't. And that gets me fired up, dude, because I'm telling people, I'm telling you, man, like, don't wait to do this kind of stuff, because if you don't think, the people that we're doing business with as partners, if you don't think that they're trying to cut in every area they can, then you're out of your mind, and you have to do it too. You have to do it. But I'm just fired up, man, because I have a hockey game on Friday night, and we're gonna win.
There you go.
And I had practice in the morning. We practiced before school.
There you go.
Our high school too.
There you go.
So we're on the ice.
I appreciate you bringing the fire. I appreciate you hanging out. Guys, if you're not connected with Mike Fusco, find him on LinkedIn or, connect with him somehow. And I'm sure he would love to talk to you about any of this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, one of the things that Mike Fuscoism is, if he talked to you before and you haven't made changes, don't talk to him again, because he doesn't want to hear it. He wants you to implement now or don't come back to him. And so, man, Mike, I appreciate you coming to hang out with us and being a part of the show. And, I'll talk to you soon, but, the audience appreciates it as well.
No, thanks for having me, brother. It's always fun talking to you, man. You do a great job. So,
man, thank you very much. Well, that was a great episode.
Amazing. It was an amazing episode.
I really enjoyed that content. Guys, if you enjoyed that content and you want more of it, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Nah, dude. You got to tell them to crush it. Crush that subscribe button, guys.
All right. Whether you want to crush it, smash it, hit it.
Bop it?
Sure, we could bop it. Either way, guys, we don't want you to miss another episode. We enjoy spending time with you, the VIP.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.